Welcome to the Business Growth Spotlight, where we shine the light and talk with businesses from all over the world to share their insight and expertise so we can all grow together. I am your host, Heidi Schock, and the co-founder of the Spotlight to Scale Accelerator, where we help drive revenue for companies by making sure they're seen as the authority and go-to expert in their industry versus just another product and service. And today is a really special day because I'm joined not by one expert, one founder, co-founder, CEO, business person in their industry, but two. So I'm really excited to be introducing you and bringing you my guests today, Pavel Solin and Leonard LaFrance with NCLab. So welcome, gentlemen, to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me. So can you both just kick us off with telling us a little bit about who you are, the company, and your role within it?
Okay, so maybe I can start. So my name is Pavel Solin. I am a full professor actually of computational science at the University of Nevada in Reno. And I love computers. I love computing, anything that is related to it. Now, and as you know, things like machine learning and artificial intelligence and the whole automation future is full of computers. So I'm naturally attracted to this. And in my career as a educator, I actually became unhappy with the way we teach. I realized that students should not just sit in the classroom for 75 minutes or 90 minutes listening. You know, it's not really very efficient. So that's why I founded NCLab. It's learning by doing. It's a completely different thing. You don't sit, you are not idle for a second. You always do something. You get practice. So that would be about me now. What about Leonard?
The reason I'm partnering with Pavel is that he had the brilliance before COVID and before he started back in 2010 to realize that we needed people to actively learn as opposed to passively sit and then be left on their own to do work on the basis of what they learned during that sitting. And it turns out that it might have been harder to implement in a classroom environment, but it is perfectly fitted for online training, which is where the world is going. COVID forced the transition towards online training, and now it's almost 50% of graduates of colleges and universities get their degree online, which is a very, very big surprise. Yes. And so it's a very, very important way to do things in not only higher education, but in career training for different types of jobs. People need to be able to do it while they're working. They need to all of the benefits. So anyways, that's why I got excited, and that's why I joined Dr. Solin and helped fund the company and helped have the world find out about it.
Yeah, I can jump on that excitement. So 50%
yes,
of college graduates or college students are doing online learning?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I had no idea it was, and my children are 14 and 15, so they're moving into that shortly. Like my daughter is going to be 16 this coming month in a week. Absolutely. Actually, she's in 10th grade, and 11th grade is the year that we start figuring out where she's going to go. She's going through that testing and everything. And I did not realize 50% of students were in the online learning space. So that is definitely.
She'll be taking many of her courses online, not in a classroom.
Even if she goes to a university.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The universities, what's really exciting for us as a company is that we're getting into universities and colleges where they're able to add programs, they're able to add courses, elective courses that they would never be able to create themselves. They're able to we're now looking at minors providing minors online in data analytics and Python. So it's very, very exciting what's going on.
That is very exciting. Can we talk about, let's kind of go backwards a little bit and talk about the challenges. So, what are some of the problems that the US higher education system or the online education system is facing?
Okay, so maybe I could comment on this because I'm the educator slash instructor in the room. So, I'd like to show you a book, can I? I don't know how this will work. If I keep it close to me, it's called The Great Upheaval. And it's an almost research monograph, and it explains these problems in great detail. I recommend this book to everybody. It will open your eyes.
So
It
it's
actually
called
describes how...
we couldn't see it for the part of it, but just for those, many people will be listening, it's called The Great Upheaval.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me tell you a few words about this. This system of college education that we have today in the US was built during the second industrial revolution. So in this book, they call it the assembly line education. And that's pretty much what we have. So, imagine a conveyor belt and we put a student there and pour something into them, pre-calculus, then they move on, all at the same pace. Regardless of their skills or comfort zones, they are forced to the classrooms at the same time. And it just doesn't work for actually most students. And Heidi, I started with this with NCLab some 14 years ago, and I developed this feeling. I can feel the pain the students have. They come to the classroom, they can focus maybe for 15 minutes. And it's a scientifically proven fact. They cannot focus for more. And yet I have to cover my stuff. I have 20 lectures per semester, so I have to go. I have to go. Concept 1, concept 2, concept 3, and I cannot stop just because you did not understand concept 1. And you may be lost for the rest of the lecture, and most students actually are. And, that's the price you have to pay for this model, where all students are supposed to understand everything that you tell them while sitting passively. Sometimes when somebody really wants to understand this, I make a joke, if I may. Imagine that I explain to you how to swim during 75 minutes in a lecture, and then I would throw you in the river. What would happen to you? What do you think?
I'm going to drown.
That's literally what's happening to our students. And people like me who teach, we have to also do research, so we don't really have time to think about it. I'm kind of an exception. And I'm actually converted. I now care more about education than crunching numbers and computers as I did before, because I feel the method we have is really, really helping students. It has just enormously amazing response. And Heidi, the way I can function now in the classroom, the students can go through the NCLab curriculum. It's self-paced. It's incredibly detailed. Okay, nobody is getting lost. Nobody is getting, hung up on anything. And if they have a question, they just raise their hand, and I am there, and I'm their instructor, and I'm answering their concrete question. This never happens if you have 80 students or even 40 sitting in a classroom. Some people will tell you, yeah, like in-person instruction is great because all students can ask, but in reality, nobody is asking because they don't know if the question will sound good or bad. They don't want to embarrass themselves in front of their peers. So everybody's just sitting, trying to take as many notes as they can. They don't really understand what, they are writing. So we are trying to fix all this. And I'm really happy to report it works.
Yeah, I love what you're doing, because I remember just thinking back from just listening to you right now. I'm thinking back to my college days, and it was over 30 years ago. And I was in one class and I loved biology. I was going to go to veterinary school, and I didn't go because all my class, I came from a private school of maybe 20 to 30 people in a class. We graduated a class of less than 200. I went to a school of University of Florida, 35 to 40,000 students. One of my classes was first thing in the morning, which wasn't conducive for my schedule, from my brain, but I had to do it. 800 people in the class.
Oof.
Is your professor really going to know you? No. They're not,
Absolutely.
even if you try to get them to know you, like, and I'm an introvert on top of it. So put that mix together. It's a losing scenario
You
for
are
these
absolutely
students like
for
me. So I really love what you're doing because it's giving students like me an opportunity to thrive and be successful and not like, I could have maybe been better off in that veterinarian space. I love what I'm doing now, but at the same time, I didn't get to fulfill that because the environment wasn't conducive for me. Yes, I get to take responsibility for what my part was but also we get to take an account for the ways students learn and their personalities on top of it. There's
absolutely.
introverts, there's ADHD, there's ADD, there's dyslexic. There's a lot of different types of students that go along into this, and the traditional environment doesn't provide for all of those different scenarios.
You are absolutely right. If I may add something, you touched a very interesting topic, ADHD. These students and maybe autistic people, they love our training because of how detailed it is. I cannot really go into much detail on how our courses are really built, but it requires thousands of hours. It must be flawless. There must be no space to lose you. It's an interesting exercise, try to ask somebody to describe to you how to get from point A to point B. And if they try to do it and you try to follow these instructions, you will be surprised how quickly you get lost. It requires a mathematical mind to cover all the details. We cannot lose them. That makes our training, it's incredibly detailed if you saw it. Yes.
Yeah.
So Heidi, may I? One more thing. There is a difference between skills and knowledge, which unfortunately our educational system does not really recognize. But you can sit in the classroom and learn about what happened in the World War II, or how did this mammoth, the animal, look like? Was it gray or brown? That's knowledge. But then skills, that's a different animal entirely. Like, how do you code in Python? How do you do data analytics? That's with your hands. And we still teach students by lecturing them, and they are sitting and listening. Okay.
Mm.
And then after that, they do a limited number of homeworks. And honestly, they don't know it. They don't have the skills, and we cannot build the skills. And that's where really our company or our platform does a brilliant job in skills training.
Yeah. Can you share some evidence or like that you have that your approach to online training has worked? Can you share do you have some like case studies or anything that you can share with us for our listeners?
Well, yes, definitely. One of the things we're doing is we're very widely accepted in workforce development in Nevada. That's where we started. And by the way, a lot of the funding of our training was because the governor of the state paid for developing it, because they recognized that the employers needed these skills and they weren't in the state. And but what happens is the success is measured by the percent of people that complete the training and graduate. And we have close to 100% of the people that we accept, enroll, graduate. Okay. And that is compared to, if you do any investigation on the completion of career training online, it's about 20%. And so the rest of the people give up. And so workforce development needs that success. They are given people who they are responsible for getting them a career and getting them a job. And it's very difficult because online training right now is just a copy of what was in the classroom. It's now on a video instead of an instructor. And you're still getting the same assignments on your own. Good luck. Okay. And that's why they have a 20% completion. But if you're a counselor that's trying to get somebody ready for a job, 20% success is not a very good reflection on you either. Okay. And so the fact that we have close to 100% is something we're very, very proud of in workforce development in Nevada.
So Leonard, you just shared 100% that's, your success rate. That's a big, bold statement. And that's a lot of people. It's not 90%, it's not 95%, it's 100%. So how is that possible? What do you got all do on your end that gives you that 100% success rate?
Well, let me explain. Yeah. First of all, it's gamified. Okay.
Oh,
It's not very different than you playing a game on your phone. Everybody does it. Everybody's got a game they're going to use. Okay. It's the same way. You learn like a game. You progress like you do a game on your computer or on your phone. And as you progress, you feel accomplishment. You feel good about what you're actually doing. But in the meantime, you're learning, okay? Which is that's the magic of it, is that you're learning while you're playing a game. That and because of the way it's built, every step, think about it like a stairway. You have to step through the first and second and third step to get to the fourth step. The foundation that we make is that you can't get to the fourth step if you have not made the first, second, and third step. You can't go there. So that's the power, and that's why it works. And that's why people refuse to quit, even when they have a family or a problem that they have to deal with. They will not quit. They will not drop out. They say, no, I don't want to drop out, even though I cannot continue right now. I am not dropping out, and I am coming back as soon as I can.
So you have also a career readiness program, correct? Or assessment. Can you tell us a little bit more, can you tell me about what that career readiness assessment is and how employers are using it?
Okay, maybe I can
Please, Pavel.
Speak for a bit. So look, Heidi, I was fairly naive, 10, 15 years ago. I really saw how this method works, learning by doing, and I just assumed it will work for everybody. It's so powerful. And of course, it doesn't work for everybody. Okay, so somebody just maybe does not have the aptitude, or the willingness or the perseverance, to learn. And we actually found that if we admitted somebody like this into our training, we had significant problems. They consumed a vast amount of our resources. We have an instructional support team, we have a coaching team. And now if you try to move somebody along who doesn't want to learn, it's a problem, okay? So that's why we actually originally created this career readiness assessment. It's, some companies, if they want to hire you or are deciding, they will give you a questionnaire. And the questionnaire, you can say anything you want, and the company then hires you and you may not be a good fit. So we didn't want to do that. So instead, we have like a 2-hour activity where on purpose we bring you out of your comfort zone. We make you learn some simple new skills, very simple, and we ask you to apply them. So basically we ask you to be a little bit out of your comfort zone, learn something and apply that. And that's exactly your job scenario when you will be at your next workplace. And it turns out that this works so well that employers are actually adopting this. Because for an employer, if they make a mistake, it can cost them 6 months before they discover that the person is not really good. So we have this great filter now, which is so reliable. It's incredible.
I love that. So for our listeners, if they're listening to you and going, you know what, I think I want to learn more about this, who would be your ideal company? Do you work strictly with universities? Is there a specific age group that you work with? Like what would be the company that should be coming, or school or university that should be coming to you going, I want to learn more about your product?
Well, maybe Leonard will comment, but let me just introduce this. This is a very, very good question, actually. We work with a number of entities, with colleges, because colleges realize they need to deliver on the skills part. Otherwise, the graduates are not employable. And we work with employers directly. We work with individuals also. And there is actually no age limit. Obviously, we don't work with little kids. This is more like post-secondary. But if you want to change your career, if you have a menial job, if you're, excuse me, pushing boxes in a warehouse or something, the career readiness assessment we have will discover your skills. And we have brilliant people who were bartenders, and now they are top data analysts or Python programmers. It's unbelievable. So I would like to say that this career readiness assessment doesn't have any math at all. It doesn't ask you about what you learned before, what you learned in school. No, it discovers your ability to learn and grow. And maybe Leonard can comment on where it's used.
Yes, definitely. I think even, one of our very exciting new employer is Tesla. And they have the problem. They're trying to get the right people. Tesla has all unique equipment that's different than every other factory. And if you can't learn it, if I hire you and I spend the time to try to train you on the equipment, and you don't learn and you don't problem solve and they're not able to do the job, they've wasted the resource that they had to try to teach you. They've wasted the time. And so that's an example of somebody that is moving heavily in that direction. But I can describe the same thing at the university. The university has the same problem in Reno. One of our persons at the university hired the wrong person, exactly what Pavel described, and 6 months later finally got rid of the person because that was the end of the probation. Okay, that was the end of you putting up with that person without having to have a hard time getting rid of them. And that person said, I don't ever want to go through this again. I want the next time, I want to know the person can do what I need done, and if they can't, I don't want them. So those are examples.
That was great. Thank you. That makes it super clear. And I agree. Like, you definitely you'd rather spend a little more and get the right person and go through the process of making sure versus having that turnover. It's more heartache and headache and more money in the long run to consistently have that turnover happening. So absolutely. So can we talk about a little bit, move into the growth space of business, because we're trying to help our listeners in their growth phase and learn from what's been working for you and what's not been working for you. So can you share some challenges that you faced, or one big challenge that you faced during your progression of growing your business, and how did you overcome it?
Well, yeah, I maybe I can address that one, Pavel. Yes.
Absolutely.
One of the things we did, Heidi, is we went after individuals, okay? We went to offer this program to individuals that already have jobs and are wanting to upskill, okay? And the result we found was that a couple of things. One is you have to have money to do it, okay? The second problem is that everybody else gives theirs away. They give theirs away because they have nothing that comes with it. All it is some videos that have this terrible success rate. But we learned that there were all kinds of programs that are available to pay for people. So think about this, okay? As far as advice, okay? Instead of focusing on somebody that wants to learn, if we can focus on somebody that needs people to learn, okay? And that's really what happens with workforce development. That's what happens with the different re-entry programs that exist, is they need to be successful. And they're willing to pay. They have the money to pay for it. So that was, I guess, one of the observations I would make that is making us, and the same way with the employers. The employers have the money to pay, okay? They have no problem. If you can make a return on investment clear to the employer, they have no problem paying for it.
Thank you, Leonard, for sharing that. And yeah, so true. If you again, no matter what you're doing in your business, it's all about your messaging, right? And if you can create this massive value and the return on investment that your buyer or your potential client can see is greater than the value or greater than the investment that they're making, it's a no-brainer. Right? It's makes it super simple for them, and it makes it super simple for you.
It's still non-trivial, and that's where Leonard really shines.
Yeah.
He can convince people. I can be too mathematical, too precise, but that's how we work together so well.
I'd like to add one more thought, Heidi, if I can, because you're talking, yes, to people that want to be more successful. One of the things you want to do that I've learned in business over many years is that if you can do something that somebody is asking you for, as opposed to doing something that you think is a great idea and then trying to get somebody to use it, that's the difference, okay? Because if somebody says, if you could do this, I would be wanting to use it. That, because all these people now are developing apps, software, right? Well, get somebody to tell you, if you could do this, I would want to use it. Not even buy it. I would want to use it, because then you have evidence that somebody wants to use what you're doing. You have somebody who'll tell you how to improve it to even make it better. You have all of the signals necessary to go out and tell other people about it.
And that's where that market research comes in. It's really important to be asking questions. What is the problem that you have? What is the solution you're looking for? And if you're not asking those questions, and you need to be doing that on a regular basis, doing it 3 years ago doesn't matter, because now is different than 3 years ago. Everything is shifting and changing so fast, especially with now technology, right? The technological advances that we're seeing with AI and everything there, like there's so much happening. We need to constantly be asking questions, being inquisitive, being curious, and wanting to provide a solution, and being in a giving to give space versus in a giving to get space. The more that you're giving to give, the more that you're going to get in return. And that comes with relationships, comes with networking, and it comes with, obviously selling your product or your service. So can you share with us some marketing strategies that what has worked for you? Like, what is the thing that maybe are you doubling down on one specific avenue of your marketing to get in front of who you are? Because at the end of the day, being visible, staying visible, like we can get in our comfort zone and go, you know what? I have great clients. I'm really happy with my revenue gen right now, like what I have right now. And we could just be comfy here. But at the end of the day, anything can switch on a dime. A client, something can shift in their business, and all of a sudden they need to retract. And now you're like, oh my gosh. And you don't have that lead gen flowing. So how do you all keep that lead gen flowing to where you can make sure that you're staying on top of your goals and then moving toward exceeding those goals that you have revenue wise? And I know that we want to make an impact in the world, but revenue is important because revenue keeps those doors open.
Well, yes, this is a great question. And the exciting thing is that what we've done in Nevada, there's 49 more states, and those states, 40 of them are bigger than Nevada in terms of population. And so we have access to a very, very large marketplace in this country alone, and we could go international. We're doing some work in Africa right now, in Zambia and Ghana, where they are taking this on as a way to allow people to have competencies that are needed by the businesses in those countries. But they also want the people that are graduating to work in the developed world. Instead of trying to move to Europe or any other country, they're able to stay in those countries and make livings that are completely different than what they've had to do, try to cross the Mediterranean. So it applies everywhere, and the world, we believe, is much bigger than just the U.S.
Yes, absolutely. It's much bigger. And there's a lot of business happening and a lot of change happening in all over the continent, world as a whole. I have actually two more questions for you. One is, if you had a magic wand, either one of you, and maybe you have different answers to this since there's two of you here. That's why I said this is such an exciting interview. If I could give you each a magic wand and you could go poof and solve one issue in your business right now, what would that issue be and why?
Well, I guess I would say to be able to grow it, find the right people. And one of the things that's working, Heidi, that we're blessed with is that we're a virtual company, okay? And we can tap into the people that want to stay at home, okay? This is a huge, we're getting the best of people when we're hiring but we need more. Okay. But because people want to stay at home, they want to work remote, it's a blessing to us. I'll let you add to that anything you want.
Well, if I really could have my wish come true, I would like to change higher education. I know it's hardly possible. It's such a dinosaur. Pardon my French. It just goes. It's unable to modify itself. But I saw what I cannot unsee in the classroom when students were able to learn at their own pace. With me, look, Heidi, I'm an expert. Why should I act like a robot in front of the whiteboard and explaining something that they can check immediately in real time on their tablets, or ChatGPT can tell them, I don't have to be doing this, They could be learning at their own pace. And if they have a specific question like, I'm stuck right here, it's me, Peter, Paul, I can help them. I can actually use my expertise, which I cannot use really in a regular lecture because I have to go, cover all the stuff.
Yeah, and we're seeing that locally, I know, and I'm sure we're not the only local place it's through our states, and I know it's through other states. These teachers are confined by test scores.
Oh, yeah.
And their money depends on the success of their students. So they're held in a box. And unfortunately, the outside world is telling these students, you must step out of your comfort zone and get out of your box. But they're seeing 8 hours a day. Their teachers are confined in this box. They can't venture out. They can't get creative. There's so much that they can do, and they do try to. And unfortunately, I was speaking with somebody on one of the episodes. I'm loving this podcast. This podcast is so good. And I'm so grateful to all of you for being on here. Because I have kids, they're teenagers, and I'm learning so much, and I'm learning what the pitfalls are and the downside of our education system, and also, what they're confined to as teachers and how much teachers really want to do more. But unfortunately, they just can't. And these younger teachers coming in who are the younger generation that have, I'm 52. These teachers are coming in their 20s, and they have so much to offer these kids that they've grown up in a completely different world than I grew up in. So they can offer my kids so much more than I can offer at home, yet they can't offer more because they're confined to a dinosaur kind of system, as you were talking about. Yeah.
So Heidi, we really would need a couple more hours.
I know, there's just not enough time.
But let me just tell you, okay, it's like for me as an educator, it just brings me happiness if I can explain new things and enrich the lives of people. Mm-hmm. And with this self-paced method, we can do this. So that's why we are so passionate about, and you should see our team. It's like more than 30 people, and everybody is absolutely happy doing what we are doing.
Yeah.
We have results, people get jobs. It's amazing.
Yeah. And that's part of what the success is about your company too, is that you have passion behind it. Everybody in your company, it sounds like, has a passion and a purpose, and they're on board with this mission and vision. We haven't even gotten into your mission and vision. So let's real quick, because I know I want to be respectful of your time, and we were already going over what I promised you this episode would be, but I would love to see, talk about real quick, your team. What is the importance of creating culture and developing a like-minded culture and environment inside of your business, and how does that contribute to the success overall of what you're wanting to create?
Pavel, do you want me to take a shot at that?
I'm talking all the time. Leonard, please.
Yeah. Well, the team, as I mentioned, is virtual, but it is the right people. And, the way we're able to run the company virtually is that we have people that are using electronic meetings all day long. They love what they're doing. And I think, and they're very powerful people. So, that's, if people are able to run with the ball and we want them to do that, that's what we have in the team. And that's what makes us successful.
Yeah. It's all about your people, right? When they're happy inside, they're only going, it's like a ripple effect. You're going to attract the people that you're going to be loving working with and who are going to love working with you. So my final question for you both is, if we were to be able to come back in a year and revisit this conversation, what would success, which I hope to do, what would success look like for you in your company?
Success will look like a much bigger company with as many of these new people as we can find that we can add to the organization, because we're going to be in a very high growth phase in this year, and so I think we'll see very significant growth to the company, because I think everybody's picking up what's really happening is that we focused on workforce development, but now the employers are the ones that are coming in and saying, hey, wait a minute, I didn't know about this, right? That there's a way to do this. And so I think there's going to be not only on the bringing people into great careers, but we're going to have employers leveraging the technology to upskill and to recruit new people, again, trying to make sure they get the right people.
Amazing. So how do our listeners reach out to you? Can you share with us how they can connect with you, your social media, your website, all the goodness?
I would say the simple way, because I think we do a good job of telling the message. If you just go to NCLab.com, you can read all about, because I think we're very much in the mode of sharing what we've uncovered and how it's able to help people.
Perfect. Well, we're going to have all of your links in our show notes. So for you listening, go to it's nclab.com, correct?
Yes.
So go to nclab.com, but you can also reach out to both of them, Pavel and Leonard, both on social media. And we're going to have all of their links available to you. And I just want to say to both of you, thank you so much for your time today. Is there anything that you want to share that I didn't get to ask you or touch on today?
No, you were a great host, Heidi. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for being here. I'm so grateful for your expertise and your information. It's definitely been eye-opening for me. I've learned a lot in the process as a mom. I'm like loving these conversations because I'm learning so much. My son is ADHD. My daughter they're different learners. So it's really important that as parents too, we're not pigeonholing them into one way of learning when that's not necessarily the right way for them. And I think as we're growing and evolving and moving through the system over the last hundreds of years, we're learning that one size doesn't fit all. And we've got to find the right way that works for each of our students, even though it might be different. Like back in my day, everybody went to the same school. If you were siblings, you went to the same school. Now it's not necessarily like that.
Correct.
It may not be. Like my kids are actually looking at possibly going to different high schools, which hurts my heart because I want them together. But at the same time, I need to do what's right for each of them. So I think as parents, we need to let go of what is expected or what we were used to and do what's right for our children and have those conversations and talk to people like you to see what's available out there that can help them in best for them. So I really appreciate your time in this conversation. So thank you so much. Thank you for listening to the Business Growth Spotlight. And if you are listening to us or watching us on YouTube, please subscribe and leave a comment for both Pavel and Leonard below. And also, if you're listening to us on your favorite podcast platform like Apple or Spotify or Amazon, please leave us a review and also leave a comment below. Reach out to both of these gentlemen. They're more than happy to talk with you and let them know that you heard them here at the Business Growth Spotlight podcast. If you have a business and you're looking to grow your visibility and you're feeling stuck and you're like, I'm doing all the things, but nothing's working. We have a strategic plan and a way of doing that for you. You can download our blueprint at spotlighttoscale.com/blueprint. Go grab that and roll with it. And again, reach out to Pavel and Leonard and go have a conversation with them, learn more about their product and their service. And thank you, gentlemen, both again for being here. I'm so grateful.
Thank you very much.
We will see you on the next episode of the Business Growth Spotlight podcast.